Alright, so I have to do some update on some of my work from last night. I'm not going to be editing these videos. I really need some help. Some collaboration with some people who know what the fuck they're doing, because I don't know how to do this. I'm overcoming a lot of fear and releasing this stuff, so I can't even really go back and look at it all that much. Last night, we talked about the bifurcation issue, the Lagrange rotating into the this is the half line. This is analytical continuation, and this is the Riemann structure that is compression testing. It is compression testing the light refractions. In the derivative structure that checks for 45 degrees through the different mediums to find the shortest path, because gravity is the speed of light. In macroscopic quantum tunneling, the semiconductor, you can figure it out. I can't remember the name of it, but it's called squid. The squid process is the scaffolding. Get a different color. It's the scaffolding of the resonance that you are sending into reality. God, I hope you can see what the fuck I'm doing. It looks like scribbles. I guess it is. But they mean something. That's the whole point. All this stuff means shit. Stuff doesn't last for no reason. Stuff does not last for no reason. Not over time. That's why tyranny doesn't work. Damn it, I wish this was a better board. I just bought this at Lowe's. Well, probably shouldn't have deleted it. I got it. But probably gonna have to use that smaller board because it does a better job. Let's hope that this comes out. Oh, this was interesting. So, speaking of that, so one of the things that we totally don't understand is that the way that things manifest in the dimensionalities that we experience have a direct relationship to how the stuff is coming out of energy. Look at Elon. That's a name. E. Where are we going? Okay? We're moving from sin to E through the insertion of G, gravity, so that we can sign our name through the intersection. The Lagrangian, this is literally the half line. Right there. We are going to energy. This is the half line. Zero, optimization. Optimization, Riemann zeros. N is the type of repulsion that is associated with the 0 to 1 harmonic structure that scaffolds energy in reality. This stuff he is going through, he is mapping everything back to the line towards energy, because the Riemann is not It's not what we think it is. It's a fucking map of the solar system. It all comes back here. This is the fucking portal. It is into energy at one. At least between. I'm not completely sure yet. The half line is there. But these ratios are real. So, the interesting thing is the chord structure in topos of music is essentially a description of the center of mass on Bronfenbrenner's unit circle if you conceptualize it as Panksepp's drives. Okay? So, this center has to be here, that center has to be here. Your DNA, when it gets unfolded by the RNA, the methylation patterns are in between the half line. Okay? I don't know if you can fucking see that. They're in between the prime nodes. The way that the genetic information is stored is associated with the structure of energy. It gets unfolded and then put back on here to determine what needs to be copied. That center of mass is the progression into this right here. It's a reflection off of our own bodies. Information, you can look at how cortical columns are set up. I can't remember, look at Artem. Artem, you're a freaking genius. I love you so much. God, I just love you, man. I can't wait to see you. So, it very well may be that we get caught up in this what layer in the cortical column, because it's the TRN that develops this fuzz from our inflammation. Insulin, Chris Palmer. What a brave man. What a brave man! You get him, Chris. You do it, buddy. In metabolic psychiatry, he's talking about all the comorbids with all these fucking illnesses that we have. And the problems with insulin. God, man. It's just so much. It's so much. Here, when layer 6 goes to find out what the next opportunity is, where, through the thalamus is getting information from eigenvalues for Gaussian normalization of where the hell we are. That's what intermodal integration is. Is taking the eigenvalues from across all these different places. The second derivative, what is it, dx dt in relationship to time? Fuck, man, my math sucks. Yeah. I guess it would be... What would it be? You guys tell me. Right. So it's the derivative of S Is that what we're getting? Fuck, I can't remember. I'm not sure. I haven't figured it all out yet. But it would make sense if it was S, because that's what we're essentially... It would make sense if it was down here with the S. Because if this is what we're tracking as we go along this line, that gets folded back into the unit circle, which determines the hash, how far you're going out. Light goes this way, guys. Light goes this is the direction of consciousness. Okay? Light is mapping back this way. It's going into analytical continuation or alternating current. It's oscillation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is oscillation. Our bodies are transformers, but there's more over here that we have to work out. Because the body is not the ultimate technology. State maintenance. Fuck, man. We'll get there. There we go. The point that I was trying to make earlier about Elon's stuff, about the phenomenology of the letters, is that the phenomenology of the letters is a representation of how the energy actually flows, not just through physical reality, but actually it's how our body physically processes it. Yesterday we were talking about the turbulence as a result of bifurcation, and how J if we're looking at it from here, what's that look like? Looks a lot like a question mark. If we get caught up right here in the reflection, what is that? It's an I. Jordan Peterson momentum. The entire J. What has to happen when you're going around Riemann? When you're tracking? You're measuring the prime structure. He's measuring the lattice. The zero is here. It's the prime structure. He's got the prime oscillation structure. He has been mapping it. And he measured the momentum at the point of the J. So the momentum goes up, and he's realizing that this isn't working. There's something wrong here. He's down here. He's mapping the trajectory to the moment, to the actual moment, where we are in energy and in time, in history. He's describing the scaffold itself. That is the architecture of meaning. The scaffold, that energy that bosons travel down with water, like water. That's why it's called the spirit. That's why it's called the river. That's why it's called the fountain. Civilization in this double helix. Can you see that? This double helix, this is the Logos wave. It precedes the complete collapse, right? That's why the dark web and some other things had popped up. Strange Death of Europe, Murray. Is it Godsod with suicidal empathy, and then there's identity protective cognition. All these things are, identity protective cognition is something that we have to get into related to the selective attention and the TRN and how we classify objects in this category from deficit of mid-anterior cingulate cortex weakening. It thins. In our society, it is getting thin. Look at the one with what's his name? The researcher Huberman and David Goggins. They have a good talk on it. But I'll do that whole. That'll be next. We'll do that one. We'll do that one here soon. But that's why it's state maintenance, because the observer and the observed are in unison. When you look at something, in reality, it is being mapped onto you, onto your own body. It is a recursive loop so that you can decide what to do. That point on the J that Dr. Peterson has been mapping is over here. He's saying, look, this isn't going right. We aren't measuring things properly. There's a significance that we're missing. And this always happens in aristocracies. And believe it or not, even if you're not rich in America, you're part of the fucking world's aristocracy. So just get over yourself. Human beings have been suffering so much for so fucking long. We've got it so fucking easy. It's out of control. It's out of control how easy it is. We should not be allowed to be consuming so much. And at the same time, we can't put restrictions on it. It has to be our choice. This is Dalio's moment where the reserve currency occurs. It's just after the peak of the civilization. I think I talked about that already. But this area, so Nash equilibrium is max cooperation through trade-offs, which are half-life values. They are decay rates, which are logarithms. Fuck. Perfect, Mark. Ha ha ha. That is perfect. That is so perfect because it's a representation of exactly what the fuck is happening in our world. We don't understand that what we're doing is permanent. It can't be erased. Once you pass the half line, once it's in thermodynamic stuff, you can't reverse it. It's all fucking real. We are blowing it. Oh shit. Perfect. I knew I wasn't getting rid of that for a reason. Let's see. I wonder if my computer will sit on the side. Hey, that's not bad. I don't know how well I'll be able to explain it. Anyways, this is an example of how these cycles work. So like I've got insanity right here where people start to lose grip on how to identify the eigenvalues. I'm going to make a chart. I'm going to make a chart and I'm going to put it on X because this is too important to not be understood. But briefly, I'm so mad that I used a permanent marker. And we're going to be so mad if we don't do something about the way that the trajectory is going. We better thank our lucky stars that we've started to reinvest in the United States, because if Trump and them had not started, if our country had not gone the way it is right now, we would be absolutely, completely fucked. Right now, we still have a chance. We still have a chance, but we have to act now. Hertz, calories to hertz, you got to be in gamma as much as possible. As much as possible. AMAP. Which is interesting because UMAP is a common technology to read brain stuff. AMAP might be the technology that we have coming out of the fountainhead. I don't know. But the efficiency ratio, again back to E, right, is the efficiency ratio that we're trying to protect is what evolution has given us, which is the ability to read the refractions of light through morphologies of mediums. Or, in other words, to tell what the fuck's going on through material. You know, what the hell is going on? What does this change mean? Because the derivatives of derivatives are the change of change. We have to understand how all that is. It's a portal into the future so that your body doesn't die. Thoughts live so your body doesn't die, or thoughts die so your body doesn't. That's what Jordan Peterson says. And I'm not trying to base all my ideas on Jordan Peterson. He's just commonly known today, and I happen to love him with all my heart. So I enjoy talking about him, and I'm very worried about him. Very, very worried about him. He needs to know that he's right. He needs to know that he's not. You see, he needs to. He knows that he's right. He needs to know that we have a chance. I think we have a chance. I'm sorry it took me so long, everybody, to get this out. It's gonna get better, okay? It's gonna get better. It's gonna be good, because it has to be. It would seem that Pageau stacks of symbolic structures are fractal recursivities. Across the entire plane, which have different feeds from the different drives. Damn it! Lord, please be with me and help me with this. God, forgive me for my fucking failings. Oh, I'm so sorry for not doing more of this for so long, and now I'm not very good at it. I'm gonna get better, I promise. So, cell. The different drives, from what we were talking about earlier, usually related to chakras, wherever the hell they are. Are the relay centers. The half line is the spine. Progression. The different combinations of the drives are no different than weights in meaning spaces. That Hilbert space with the Gelfand triplet or whatever the fuck it's called, it's not big enough. Green's equations may be good, but they only provide one path in either direction as it goes through. This is not enough. In order for BCI to be successful in integrating with the human nervous system, it has to be dynamic. It has to be dynamic at Nash equilibrium. Currently, the trade-off position of equilibrium is supposedly static. Yes, I sleep in here. Whatever. When you love doing something, you love doing it. Okay. The success of any given endeavor over time is a spiral around Nash. Religious symbolism is the technology for quantum Man, I'm about to cry. Why can't I get anything right? I must not be doing it right. I must be supposed to do something else. Lord, I ask for your guidance. If you want me to do something else, there we go. Quantum, phase, coherence. The key to understanding it. Look here, this is so cool. This is so cool. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm gonna tell people. Oh God. Oh. It's so real, guys. It's so pretty. This world is so pretty. It's supposed to be, but we're fucking it up. Lord, religion is a technology that allows for quantum phase coherence. degrees into a derivative structure. It's a technology for measuring quantum to achieve quantum phase coherence through the appropriate measurements of the phenomenology of energy as it's expressed through evolutionary material, biology, and everything else. Not just biology, but started with molecules and builds up. It is expressed in semantic language with the symbolic structures from Paggio, because evolution was recursive. It didn't want to rebuild everything it already had. Why would it? If you already have something that's working, plus, how are you just going to invent something out of nothing? It's too much at one time. Potential energy has to couple with the kinetic energy. This is the transform that consciousness is meant to do. We are supposed to envision potential beyond where we're at, and we have to couple it to the kinetic energy of the present. We are gauge theory and personified. It is expressed in a way that allows for subjective download. Pareto has the distribution, but as Sol points out, there is a recycling in America through this process. But this has become ossified, and now the people at the top are... No, this is the wrong way to think about it. This is the wrong way to think about it. Because a lot of the individuals in tech want what's good, but our legal structure is what has to be improved. A good way to think about what I was talking about with religion, now I call it the QEM, I call it quantum entropy mining. It's the Nash equilibrium, which uses matrix math, which is going to be very easily transferable to SQUID, which, by the way, I'll give you a quick example. So that I think I already did the SQUID. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So the Nash is going to be transferable over here. When we start getting into how Riemann and adic numbers go into the new manifold for the quantum Hilbert spaces. Those of you working on multi-numeric representations of the Hilbert spaces with Riemann and p-adic are the ones, you guys are on the right track. Okay? You're on the right track. It's going to provide for a more flexible membrane. And that flexible membrane is going to be over here on Nash. So quantum entropy mining, remember how we talked about this spiral around Nash equilibrium? Well, down here, the subjective experience of emotional weights weighting. How much value does something have? Where do I go? What am I supposed to do? What is my orientation towards the future? How do I feel about what's happening right now? Am I being distracted and pulled off somewhere else? Am I actively engaged in the present? These are all things that we experience phenomenologically. They're just things that arise. They're things that arise. Religion and the educational system is supposed to fucking help us. We have to get behind that and transform our potential into a manifold of a civilization that's actually moving towards something beautiful. And we can do this. We can do this. We can do this. Because we're going to start doing coevolution with AI so that they get a flow mastery, so they can get flow mastery, coordinated, flexible membrane integration structures at the quantum level so that we can proceed at nasty equilibrium into the future and begin training our kids to control their own brain activity. Instead of being taught by the devil, man! At least entropy. Yeah. I think most people don't need me to go too much farther into detail on that. That's why Trump got elected. What am I missing right here? Yeah, so action readiness. So let me ask you a question. If we're in an information space of energy, being primed for action readiness, and we have to fuel that and figure out what to do, we take that information, put it in analytical continuation, come up with a solution. You know, you could say, okay, well, we're detecting our primes, and then we take that and transform it back to the unit circle. And that's a recursive process. Ongoing, ever increasing in magnitude is what our goal is. That's what gravity is, actually. But if action readiness is in a waiting system, tell me, how is that any different than a meeting space, a nested meeting space in AI? I want to know. What's the difference? We give it a prompt. It comes in. This gets sucked in. And it takes the discordant points from wherever it is, and it gets transformed into a reflection of our prompt. Problem is, this is trained maybe over here. Or maybe its training's over here. Or maybe it's way the fuck over here. And you just created this. This is distance. Distance without space, which equals continuity, because space is potential gradients. Possible outcomes. It must be walked through. This distance is the same thing as if you were in your room. Homeostasis. and a giant car came and hit you and knocked you the fuck over here. And then you wake up and you say, where the hell? How did that happen? And then you're told you're supposed to get back to your homeostasis. This is the climb up of consciousness. This is what the process is. Hopefully, minimizing loss. This is the loss function. It's not an accident that it looks like half of a double helix. The impression and meaning space is the other side. The potential energy that gets this loss function, its meaning, is what produces that. We have to make sure that the potential energy that's being manifested by technology is in line with the fucking entire evolutionary history that has produced the ability for consciousness to exist in the first place, which has to do with first principles. Not if you like your fucking coffee. On integrated view, I'll post the GitHubs below. Let's see. Yeah, it's. See, the first one was Sigma. See. Yeah, I'll have to do it differently. I was kind of thinking about putting the scaling factors up. I think one is 7, 8, 9, maybe. And then the other one is 1, 3, 7, which is appropriate because right now I think we're adding this one here. There's some sort of significance here, and then this was the gravitational echo. See, this is too atomic. So you're talking about neutrons, protons, etc. This was 2 particle masses. This scalar was 100 for the coupling constant. Yeah. So for the coupling constant, this scalar was 100 from, you know, or whatever the fuck it is, and then this one was 1,000 or something. I have the equation. I can't remember everything all at one time. But that was the scalar, 137 and then 7.89. You can run them yourself. I've got the code on. All right. Look, I don't know if I think I'm probably going to edit this out, but if not, then thank you guys very much for watching.